usually voice actors don't do panels this late. Usually there's more fun.
That's what I was saying.
But thank you for spending the time at my panel. My name is Corinne Sudberg. I'm a voice actress, YouTuber, and singer. This is going to be super chill. Q&A, I'll probably just ramble about myself, because you guys love hearing somebody talk about themselves. I guess I can give you a little bio for people that don't know me outside of just like the voices. So I'm originally from Long Island, New York, from Great Neck. Yeah, represent. Yeah. I've done theater since I was 7, mostly doing monologues and little plays here and there. When I got to high school, I kind of started getting like stage fright and like worried about my appearance and stuff like that. So I kind of dropped theater and decided I wanted to be an animator because that's easier, right? I went to begged my parents to get me into an art school, which I'm still regretting to this day and paying off my loans. It was still a great experience, don't get me wrong, but like, yeah.
No, you didn't finish me off.
I graduated the School of Visual Arts with a major in fine art. They don't give you an animation degree, it's fine arts. But I studied traditional animation, bit of After Effects, Flash, and I got a minor in theater because after I was learning about the animation process, I loved everything about animating except for the actual animating. I loved storyboarding, sound design, compositing, like organization. So I thought, okay, maybe I'll go in that realm. And then as I was taking a script-taking class, they were saying like how as animators you need to act with your body and stuff like that. When scripting you get to act with your voice. And then I didn't realize, I'm like, oh, I guess I could look into voice acting. That's a type of acting that you don't really need to show yourself for. So then started taking a few classes with that and a few other like acting classes. And then started doing voiceover a bit in New York. It was a little bit rough. But then eventually I got some opportunities at Funimation, where actually one of the opportunities was for Momo. Auditioned for him, recorded 2 episodes, so I figured I got it, but then they said, we'll call you. Didn't hear anything for a year. And then, because at that time, Funimation had like some licensing rights to One Piece or something, but they didn't tell you that. They're just like, oh, we're on the One Piece is just taking a break. But then we got the rights back, and then they're like, get in here, you're voicing this dragon. I'm like, okay. And then I moved to Dallas 4 years. Yeah, I've been living there for 4 years so far. And yeah, most of my work is through Crunchyroll, or I've worked for other various studios. And I also, like I said, have a YouTube channel, and I work for big YouTubers such as like Team 4-Star, done some stuff for Linkara, AFMAL. I know there's some AFMAL fans here. And yeah, that was basically my career, and I've been doing it ever since. Besides voice acting, I also do graphic design, editing. I'm a DM for hire. I do Dungeons and Dragons a little bit for one-shots. Yeah. I actually do a
one-shot yesterday.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. The booth that has all the Has Been Hotel stuff, that's my friend Stuart. He recommended me to this con. I also play Dungeons and Dragons with him, and I run a Pokemon Mystery Dungeon campaign. Yeah. If you guys are interested in that, look up Mystery Dungeon Explorers of the Heart. That's a game that I run. So, and they all play. Stuart, the guy who runs that booth, he plays a Munchlax named Pierre. So, the best part is all of them have amnesia, just like in the games. But every time they have a dream, I give them little hints of what their past life was. And they kind of stitch it together. So, yeah, so that's enough rambling from me. That's my entire life story. I guess for this panel, I can talk about how to get into voiceover, or maybe how to be a YouTuber. Don't. Or we can just, chat about like what people are watching or whatever. What's that?
I feel like YouTube has gotten toxic with like all
It's always been toxic. It's just even worse.
Always been drama. I've seen it since 2010.
Basically, like, you have to be really lucky if you want a career on it, and if you're just doing it for fun and a hobby, like what I do, you can just do that. It's probably much easier. Get a little cash on the side, but don't expect too much from it. So, like I said, this is Q&A, or we can just chat. Anybody have any? You all lay them back, friend.
Do you still do voice parody things, or?
Yes, but I usually use it under my YouTube name. Not like really, again, like I've been working for Crunchy Funimation for like 4 or 5 years. And as long as I don't like brag about it, they don't really seem to care. So, but yeah, I use my YouTube alias for stuff like recently I just did something for Devil Artemis. He does a lot of like the selling the games thing, and they needed a Luffy actor, and my range sometimes sounds too similar to actors that they already have, but I can sound very close to Colleen.
I'm
So
actually surprised the few times I was watching videos, like, that voice sounds very familiar.
yeah.
And I'm like, who the frick is this?
I've been taking classes because the problem I'm dealing with right now is I'm a voiceover chameleon. I can sound like many other actors, but they already have those actors, so why would they need me? So I'm trying to diverse my voice if that's even possible. But yeah, I got to play Luffy for that, and that was a lot of fun. But I use my name. I use Megami33. So, but like even when that video came out, like nobody went like, oh, did you see what she did? You know, like so. If that answers your question, yeah.
Would you be opinion on short acting? I don't know what show. It's been a while.
What's that?
Would you be opinion on short acting? I don't know what show, but it's been a while.
It depends if it's, I hate to say it, but like now because I'm so busy, I mostly put paid as a priority. So if it's a paid thing, sure. If it's not, then it's like, oh, I'll do it. I'm just gonna put you over here though, because the other, yeah. Because like I'm constantly working, whether it's with AFMAO or with Crunchy. Sometimes I go in just to sneeze, but you know, that pays the bills. So, any other questions?
How would you recommend, like, for someone who wants to, that does voice acting, just like, I usually just use my voice acting for, like, my campaigns and stuff like that, mainly, or, like, if I'm, like, recording, recently I did, what was that character I did for that one CG5 guy? Not CG5, like, his name. He was in a little plush video. Cuphead game character, the flower.
Oh,
Yeah, I did Cagney Carnation for
Oh,
a
okay.
plush video, but that's like something small.
Yeah, and I'm just doing voice acting for like a horror analog series, so.
I mean, anything, it doesn't have to be big. Everybody starts small. Like, you know, when my first, I'm just making sure this website's right so I can recommend it to you guys. Yeah, it is voice acting fun. My first thing that I ever did, even before abridging and stuff, someone made a show called Care Bear Stars. It was all done in MS Paint, and it was Sailor Moon mixed with Care Bears. And the main character was, I forgot his regular name, but he would transform into Tenderheart Bear, and it was basically just little kids, and like when they transform, they get like the ears, and like he gets, not a fursuit, but he gets like a crime-fighting uniform, but he's a bear, and then they even did like when he's twirling around, they got the little heart. Like, for people that don't know do people know what Care Bears are? Okay, I'm just making sure that is, you probably don't know what Care Bears are, do you? Okay, yeah, when you get the toy, they have a kid with heart. But they also like, yeah, so like you would have like a mega beam and stuff like that. I don't think that's on YouTube, I hope it's not. But that was my first ever gig, and I did that for free. I did like 10 episodes with the guy, and he animated all in MS Paint, bless his soul. I would never put that on anybody. But yeah, you start somewhere, and then you find other things. Luckily, nowadays, they have, is there a pen? There's a pencil. I probably shouldn't do that. Yeah, I can write here.
Oh, Lord.
Oh, this, what happened to this pen?
They probably,
Someone like,
because they colored into the pizza, they probably used all its ink up.
well, I'll write letters. Wow, this pen. Yeah. For people that want to get started, and I write so much better, I'm sorry. People that want to get into voice acting, you can always go on Voice Acting Club. That has been a top resource for people just getting started or even veterans. This source was made by people you probably know, like Kira Buckland, Erica Mendez, and a couple of other high people that are in the voiceover world. They have made a resource that you can learn about how to get started, how to make a demo, how to find an agent, how to trust a class, you know. So I recommend you go on this. They also have a Discord server where they upload auditions, paid and non-paid. So if you feel like you're not ready for trying like for a paid gig, you can practice with some of those. So yeah, I would definitely start there. You can make friends there. You know, everybody has a different voiceover journey.
Have you ever
You
been
know.
on the guy who voices Lloyd, Forger, and Aizawa? He does like free voice acting classes I hear recently. I think some of his ads he's put up.
Free voice acting classes.
I know.
I mean, if they're free, I guess it's fine, but yeah. I will say, because I'm just gonna like, yeah, if you're paying for a voice acting class, you definitely need to check your reference on who you're doing it. And this is, I'm not gonna say any actors' names. Some actors, most of them could be like veterans or retired, will do classes because they're not working. And, you know, they'll be like, oh, I trust this person, they were in this show. But at the same time, they're not working. So when you want to take a class, you'd rather take with someone that's actually still in the business, that knows what the trends are and stuff like that.
Like
And
Steve
also,
Blum
What's that?
Steve Blum.
yeah, I would take a class with Steve Blum. Crispin Freeman, Richard Horowitz, there's a bunch of people. My friend Morgan Berry, she's done a lot of roles. and
I'm
stuff.
the one that does what was it? Inuyasha's
Yeah, she did the Inuyasha daughter show. That was okay.
Yeah,
she's definitely done better roles than that. But like,
oh, okay.
and I'm not saying she was bad at that. I'm just saying like that show was not what I expected it to be. But she has a great. If you go to Morgan Berry's website, she has a list of classes that you should trust and classes that maybe you should avoid. So that's definitely a good resource right there if you just want to make sure that you're taking classes that will actually help you.
This is gonna be one of those questions. What were I know that you told us that you actually did a Brit series.
Yeah.
Which one is your favorite out of the Brit series that you have done?
I mean,
I'm sorry, I want to say the first one.
4-star.
I hate to say because I've done voices for many, and like a lot of them are forgettable. Like Team 4 Stars are probably the most prominent one.
Yeah.
I mean, I did like playing Elizabeth for the Sword Online Abridged people, but all I know, a few people only know that one.
I know about it.
I played Ease Death for what's that show called? Ease Death is like this really sexy lady with blue hair, and she freezes people.
Oh yes, that's the
Yeah, I played her in a bridge series. She was fun.
I was like East Death. Wait, she's talking about the
S Death.
Is it S-Death? Okay.
S-Death.
I've never watched the show, but when the guy was telling me about the character, I was like, this sounds like a fun character to play.
He's funny though. In the bridge, she's hilarious. But she's an interesting character.
Yeah, because I don't get to play psychotic people too much, so that was a lot of fun. But like, honestly, I mean, Hellsing was probably the most interesting because it was the most challenging, because while it was a parody, we got really serious with our acting. So, yeah.
And then the famous part.
had to be hard on the throat.
Oh, yeah. I mean, now I'm trained for it because I played Momo for 4 years. Like, I can scream and it doesn't hurt anymore. So, I will recommend that too. You need to train that. The best way of doing that is singing. So,
And also
don't just practice going like, that's not gonna make you
a lot
strong.
of tea and water as well. That like,
Yes, a lot of tea, water, gongcha, which is like this really gross, like, well, I like it, but it's like cough syrup. All the voice actors have it now.
Yeah.
Take a spoonful of that or just put it in your tea. You get used to the taste. Yeah, so I guess Hellsing is probably my favorite because it was comedy, but it was also dramatic, you know. And I never get to use my low range that much, you know. I get typecast in a lot of Crunchyroll. Unfortunately, I play kids because I can do it like this. No, yeah, playing a toddler in the playground. Oh my God, Walla. Do people know what Walla is? Walla is when they call you in with a group of 3, and basically you are the background people. Say we're at a classroom and it's like, oh, there's people in the background going home after school. That's Walla. You need people to go like, oh, well, gotta go do my homework now. And it's just like, oh, did you get an A on the test? You know, like stuff like that. You'll usually lower it so you won't hear it. You might hear like a chime here or there. Walla's the best because as long as you stay on topic for the show, you can basically say whatever you want and improvise.
Oh, like that one, like those.
There's a few times people just snuck stuff in there.
Yeah, like we can't curse. If you're in a fantasy world, you can't go like, oh man, let's go get some ramen, right? Like,
Cases where that's happened.
that's the director's fault, and then they're not paying attention. Or yeah,
Or intentionally like, oh, we're gonna do that.
my favorite though in kids, kids can say the darndest things. So like, there was one time where somebody said, some character in the line said like, wow, that dad is really tall. And then someone started talking about giraffes for a whole minute. All of a sudden 3 other girls were going like, yeah, giraffes are really cool, right? Yeah, I like that they have black tongues and that they can grab leaves on the trees. You know, like, and they'll just keep that, you know. There was a joke I was doing, I had to stop, but I kept sneaking in Game Grumps references for a while. I didn't get in trouble, but I was like, I probably should stop after a while, but like my favorite one was in this one show where we were at a science museum, and sometimes when they give you Walla, they give you cues, you don't have to use them, but they'll give you like 4 lines of like, okay, you need to improvise the scene, here's an example. Wow, look at that exhibit. Oh, we better go check out that. Wow, is that a robot? You know, like, but you don't have to use those. You can make it up as you go, or you can interact with the other people. So,
Do you also do that like when it comes to like bloopers? Because I know a lot of.
We don't do bloopers anymore.
Really?
Yeah, because people have said things in the past that
Because I remember
can be dodgy.
Because I remember seeing there was a YouTube one. They actually had the final season of Fairy Tale. And they actually did bloopers for that.
That makes sense, but that director also doesn't work for funny anymore. Crunchy, I mean. But yeah, there was one example line. It literally said, "Wow, technology is incredible." So right away, I just thought of that. I don't know, like the Game Grumps Pokemon one, where it's like, "Technology is incredible. You can kick robots and stuff." Anyway, see you later. I went on a tangent with that. I will do that. I will go on a tangent for some things. But I think I answered your question with that, and I just started talking about Walla. Anybody else have a question or want to know stuff? Yes.
What was what was a role that you auditioned for that you didn't get that you thought you did really good in but you didn't get it?
Toughest question.
I mean, I guess I can talk about it now because it's out. I did get to try out for Kaiju 8.
Oh,
Yeah, and I tried out for both of the females, and I thought I could play the rich, sassy girl, but no. So that was a little disappointing. I know Abigail though, and she does a great job. So yeah, that's probably the most recent thing, at least the recent thing I can talk about.
How
So.
about the one anime that you would love to do, but it's already been done?
There's a show called Aruma-kun, like Demon School Aruma-kun.
Yes.
I feel like not enough people know that, but that went to LA.
That's the one
I
that
totally
Ryan
would have
was in,
loved
right?
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
The character that Kylie Mills plays, the green hair crazy girl that like,
The one with the teeth?
yeah, the one with the teeth. I totally would have liked that. Or honestly, I would have loved to audition for Chopper. Because when I used to do fan dubs, like, I used to like always try to voice Chopper. Like, I'm an independent man! You know, like, and I thought like, yeah, if I keep doing that, I'll eventually get it. It's like, no.
Yeah.
So that was a good question, yeah.
Reversely, what's the one job that you did land that you wish you didn't?
Damn! Hard question.
There was actually an audition that reminds me of an audition I did. It was like a vampire show that came out this season. It's garbage. I auditioned for it because it's work, but part of me was like, I don't want this.
What's the name of it?
That's a good question.
That bad.
Do people watch seasonal anime still, or?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, cool.
I'm waiting for My Hero Academia to get back.
Oh, yeah,
I think they
yeah.
have a new episode out.
Yeah, it was like for the.
Let me pull
My
up
Hero.
Crunchyroll, not sponsored.
I got my Crunchyroll account. I have it.
Well, I'm looking for the I don't know what, I think it's Vampire Dormitory or something.
Never heard of that one.
Yeah, well, it came out this season, and it was literally like, it's like, I'm just a shy little girl, and then like, wow, a sexy vampire, yeah, you can drain my blood. And like,
I think I know.
yeah, the
about that
audition
one.
lines were very cringe, and I was just like, I gotta put my effort into it, but I really don't want this role. So, and I didn't get it, so thank God.
That's how I feel anytime I have to voice like a bad guy character, and people are just like, "You're doing a really good job," but it's like, I hate it.
You also don't want to turn down work because then they'll see you as like, oh, you're being picky, how you won't say
Yeah.
anything. So like, you kind of have to still show your best effort even if you don't want that role. So
I know voice actors probably get this question, but when it comes to like a certain anime role, do you guys normally like read the manga just to get to see what you have to do to bring that character to life?
they tell us now. Before it used to be like, No, if you know too much, you're a nerd. Yeah, because like I was big into One Piece, and Overlord. Oh my god, when my director was explaining the scene where like I'm facing against I forgot the vampire chick's name, but I was playing dumb. I'm just like, oh cool, what is she, like a vampire or something? Ha ha ha. It's like I already know this scene, but like at the time, like if they thought you knew more, they thought you were being like a little sassy or a know-it-all. It's like, because the point is they're the director. They're supposed to be directing you, because you don't want to be like, I know this scene, don't worry about it. You know? Yeah, but now it depends on the director and it depends on the show. Like probably the person that's directing Kaiju is probably paying close attention to the manga. If the show's really not that popular, like Vampire Dormitory, they are probably not looking at the book. It also depends on time with the simul-dubs, because, schedules are really crazy when it comes to stuff like that.
Because I remember the voice actor that did the main character for Solo Leveling, he literally did the best job he ever did, and it was so good. I was like, man. And people keep on thinking he wasn't going to do it. I'm like, let the man cook.
Yeah.
He can do it. And he pulled it.
That's the thing. Sometimes, like, an initial performance, people can be weirded out by. Like, if you just give it time, they grow to understand the character more. It was the same thing with Momo for me. Like, a lot of people were just like, who the heck is this girl screaming or whatever? And then after a while, it's like I was developing who this character was. I was getting to understand Momo.
I enjoyed your role as Momo. That was one of my favorite characters from One Piece, because we got to see the growth of him coming from this little child to
The best was, I did work with 5 directors, because at the time with One Piece we were trying to catch up, so they needed like several different directors. Sometimes I would work with Mike McFarlane and we would go into the past, so we'd be working at like past episodes, and then I'd be working with Kyle and working like 300 episodes ahead. So it was a little confusing, but they would always remind me like a bio or something. But nowadays, they do like if you know stuff ahead of time. Even in the audition specs, they encourage you to actually take a look at the episodes or the trailers or the manga. They just don't want you to be a smartass about it, you know. But yeah, it's actually good to know somewhat. But remember, even if you think you know the character, the director is in charge, and they're the ones that have a vision. So you have to follow what they do. You can always try something different. Like since I worked with Momo for so long, my directors let me, like, if we did a take and they were fine with it, I'd go like, hey, can I just try something different? You know, and they would go like, yeah, sure. We'll keep the first take, but if we like what you're doing, then they'll keep the second take, as long as you're polite about it. So there was one scene, it's a little annoying too, because sometimes in Japanese animation, they won't, it depends on the show, they won't do flaps correctly. Yeah, and we have to compensate for that, even though it's like, so like Momo's mouth may be just going like, but he could be saying a whole monologue and it doesn't work with the teeth or whatever.
Funny that you mentioned that, because I was actually watching Bleach. They was doing an interview on how the English dub would actually try to follow what is the mouths are flapping when it comes to the Japanese dub, and then when the Japanese dub would hear what the American does, they was like, what the hell are they doing?
And everything gets approved by the Japanese companies too. But yes, sometimes we have to put more effort in what they're, if they mess up on the animation. There was one time where Momo was upset that he was coming out of Yamato's like outfit. I don't want to say a certain word because his kids are.
Oh yeah.
But he comes out and instead like he just kind of like keeps everything inside and then does like a simple short scream. And we kind of did like a cool react thing where it's like, it's not fair, you know, like, so we added like more to it, a little more nuance to it. So. And I'm really happy my director got to let me play around with stuff like that.
Is there a line that ever like stuck out in your career that kind of like made you very emotional?
I wish I could quote it by heart, but like Momo has like at least 3 epic speeches.
Should I bring it out on the Crunchyroll account? I haven't.
Just play it for everybody to hear. Yeah. Oh, that was a good one. There's a scene where they captured me. Like I've been protected all this time, but they finally, the enemies have captured me.
I think it was the one where Kaido fight.
It was when somebody betrayed. I don't know if I want to spoil that, but
oh yeah, I got it. Yeah.
But yeah, they beat me up, stepped on me, everything, and then they're hanging me like on a cross, and like they're gonna chop off my head. And like Kaido is basically just going like, hey, you know, like your father was crap, you know, you're honored, you know, you're nothing like him. And then I gather up my courage, and I'm like, and I'm beat up too, so like my cheek is like all bulbous and shit like that, so like I have to go like this to kind of make the like the beat up noise that I'm like, so it's like, I'm like, I'm not even nobody. Kid Momonosuke! You know, we added like more like effort into like him banging against the cross and stuff like that. So,
So
that's probably one of my
So when it
favorite
comes to
scenes,
like sound effects, would you literally do like, have like some type of instrument you use to make noises and stuff like that, or?
No, so like we can't make it. All the sound is already in the tracks.
Yeah.
So like when they like they can remove the music and sound effects and stuff like that. So like he already had a sound effect when he was kicking, but like I added my motion. That's another thing. You can't do too much motion because you don't want to mess up the position of the mic. But like as long as you're just kind of like if you could do that, you could add more to the nuance that it's like it sounds like I am kicking the thing even though I'm actually not. So it's the same thing with Walla too. Like you can't like, oh, there's a clapping scene. They already have the clapping. You just have to go like, yay! Like I did some Walla where we were all drunk at karaoke and our boss just sung a song and it's like, oh, that's our boss. He's such a great singer. You know, stuff like that. Any other questions about anime or YouTube or AFMAL? I mean, I can only answer so much for the AFMAL stuff. But.
So
Actually, what is the most frustrating scene that you've like had to do with AFMAL?
Oh,
I don't know.
no.
And do you mean for the role play or what I do now? Because we're playing the game while we're recording and stuff like that. So, and I'm not great at the game. In fact, we make that as a joke with Kim. We covered that because generally I'm actually not that great at Minecraft. But so there's a joke where it's like, oh, Kim's not great at Minecraft. It's like, because I'm not. So like when it's like, oh, we gotta get across this platform, and it's like, oh, we gotta do that scene again because I didn't make it across the platform. So stuff like that, I guess, yeah, has been the most frustrating.
Every time the books get destroyed.
What's that?
Every time the books get destroyed.
Oh yeah, well, that's just a funny thing. I'm also just not good at building. They yelled at me one time for using a different type of wood. They're like, Corinne, why are you using that? I'm like, I don't know.
The feeling is mutual, because keyboard and mouse. I'm not a keyboard and mouse person, so anytime it's parkour and using keyboard and mouse, she just loves making fun of me. It's just like, oh yeah, just land on it.
Yeah, so I have to record while also playing and making sure I don't fall or anything like that. It's so much fun. Yeah.
Did you do any video games?
Nothing big. I'm trying to think of the games I've done. Bee Simulator. I played like Queen Bee in that one. There was another game that came on the Wii, but it was Roguebook. I did Roguebook. Mostly just minor things. I have recorded 2 game things, but I can't talk about them. So yeah, most of my thing has been animation or anime as of now. Yeah.
for your YouTube, like what is like the thing that you've done? Like obviously you've done the singing, but like when you went on YouTube and first did it, like how did you go about like obviously the algorithm and like getting people like interested in your YouTube channel?
I mean, it was through the Abridged series that got me my popularity, because when I did when Yu-Gi-Oh! Abridged came out, everybody was like, man, that's great, I want to make my own thing. So we did a Sailor Moon Abridged. I did it with 5 of my local friends. And then after we did some episodes with that, Scott was also doing his own. What was Scott doing? Scott was doing Loop on the Third. Lanny was doing Yu Yu Hakusho. Taka, I forgot. And then they were like, we gotta do a collaborative bit. And I think I was the only girl at the time. I think there was 1 or 2 others, but I was the most popular girl at Bridger at the time. So then they asked me aboard, And then on the side, I was doing like song stuff. So then people that were fans of that, they're like, oh, she also sings and acts and stuff like that. And then I guess I just gained that following ever since. Now I have a lot of AFMAL fans now, and it's great, but like sometimes I'll get comments where it's like, great cover, it's like awesome music, and then it's just Kim! And I'm like, I wonder which one's the AFMAL fan. They'll just say Kim. They'll just be like, hi Kim, or Kim, and then like okay. Did you like the song? Like,
You just have Army of Ian's following you around.
yeah. Yeah, it's just Chris doing it on purpose, yeah. 8:25? Okay. Any other questions? Or we could just talk about what you guys are watching nowadays, because I'm always curious what
I'm
people are
literally
watching.
watching Tsunami right after I'm done with this. So I'm like, I'm waiting for the next. I'm watching Dressrosa again in English.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
Because
Cool.
I already seen it all. I just want to watch it again because it was awesome.
I was talking to Caitlin Glass, and she said one of her favorite shows is Honey and Clover, and I watch that like every so often. But like to hear her say that, I was just like, oh, that's so cool.
There was another anime that I actually finished watching. Was called what was that one? The one with Lizzie and the voice actress for Haru. What was that? Licorice Recall.
Oh, yeah, that's an underrated one.
That one, I was
I think
quite.
that was more popular in Japan than it was here.
No, it actually made it to Tsunami, which was shocking. I was actually surprised, and then when I watched it for the first time, I actually enjoyed it.
No, that's a
Tsunami's
good show,
programming. Tsunami's programming lately has been not so good.
I sadly haven't been able to keep up as much as I used to.
I noticed that too because I've been talking to a lot of my actor friends, and I feel like a lot of us have trouble going to cons because if you're not in a standard shonen show, which there's not that many these days, like the most recent one was probably Jujutsu Kaisen or
Dr. Stone.
Doctor. Funny enough, a lot of people don't consider it because they're like, it's boring and everybody talks and stuff. I'm like, I love Dr. Stone.
What?
They're saying there's not as much action compared to like.
Yeah.
It is science.
That's what I'm. Yeah, that's the
It's
point.
science,
No,
damn it.
I completely agree with you. But yeah.
As someone who's an action, I'm more of an action anime fan. I actually like Dr. Stone. I think there actually is a pretty good balance.
Yeah, no,
of
it's
action.
great.
See, when it comes to me, I go anywhere from a shonen because I actually watch shoujo. I actually going to be honest with you. My first shoujo series was actually Sailor Moon, and I thank Tsunami, and I thank you to Tsunami for that. And then for my first mecha series will be Gundam series.
Which Gundam?
Wait, which
G
one?
Gundam, G
Oh,
Gundam,
Chica, fly in the
G
sky.
Gundam or Gundam Wing. Gundam Wing is another good one.
Oh, my classic.
I just like Orphans.
That's a fun.
How about Steins Gate? Seen that?
I love Steins Gate. Yeah, that's a good one. That's in my collection right there. I've seen I think 5 Gundam Wing, G Gundam. I've seen Orphans.
That one-
Yes, that's the one I love.
The recent one, Witch Mercury, I thought was really good.
I actually got there's a funny story behind that. I was actually watching Pluto TV,
Oh,
and when I
okay.
saw they had their own Crunchyroll selection, I was like, what? And then as I looked into it, I was like, okay, they're gonna give us random anime, sweet. So then next thing you know, I was watching this one, and it was like, oh my god, it's the one with the female poly Gundam. I was like, oh, I need to watch this. But once I got into it, it was gone. I was like, damn it!
But yeah, a lot of us actors are having trouble because a lot of the newer stuff that's coming out is less action and it's more like slice of life and stuff
How about
like that. So.
I know there's a lot of isekai series.
And isekais.
Yeah.
Isekais ruined it for me
Oh
because
my god, yeah.
So this is a fun fact about isekais. Do you know why there are so many isekais being made?
Because you want to get out.
So in Japan, they have like their own conventions, but they're more about advertising like manga and the next comics and stuff like that,
Yeah.
like Comic-Con stuff.
Yeah.
So they sometimes have a competition where they pick like the next book or next popular book, and most of them are given these long titles because basically the audience will know what you're sort of getting into.
you mean that one like
That one time I got reincarnated as a slime.
or
Yes.
the one where I get transported with my mom to a video game.
Oh, I hated that. I hated that one. That would have been another one. I'm like, I don't want this role. But
So I
I
became a spider, one of it, or something.
I love that one
was
actually.
cute, yeah.
Some of them are good.
No, the
Yeah.
one that was really stupid was I was reincarnated into a vending machine. I'm like, what the?
There's also like what
I did Walla for that. I did Kid Walla for that. Where like they're like, oh, they brought a new friend, and the kids are like, wow, what does it do? And they're like, well, watch, and we just got like chips and stuff. Yeah, I did Walla, and the director was so frustrated because they're like, "What is this show called? I can't find it because the title's too long."
Too damn long. How about this one? Which isekai series would you really wanted to do the most out of?
Definitely Spider. I actually did a few covers from that show, and a lot of people were like, "Oh, you should have been Kumiko," and I'm like, "Yeah." Oh, okay, this is the show I did Walla for. I was reincarnated as the seventh prince so I could take my time perfecting my magical ability.
Oh.
Yeah.
Does another world count as an isekai?
Oh, yeah. I love talking about stuff like that because they've been doing more where it's like, they've been doing more shows like Tier Moon Empire or Seventh Time Loop or something like that, where it's like you were in this world and then you died, but then time went back and then you're living your life. So technically, it is an isekai because you're at a different
That sounds like.
time.
It sounds.
You're at a different world at a different time period.
That sounds
It's
exactly.
just another
Like,
genre of isekai.
why does it sounds like more like Tokyo Revengers in a way.
Yeah, like yeah.
Or Grandma and Grandpa became young again or something like that.
Oh,
That's not really an isekai. That's just they found a magical MacGuffin and now they're
Yeah.
young. And that's the oh, they used to be old and now they're young. It's funny.
With
Like,
white
I think it's
hair.
cute. I actually think that's a charming
Yeah,
show.
yeah.
Yeah. I want to find what the longest isekai title is.
probably not kind of.
Isekai.
Has anyone seen Grimm's Variants yet?
No.
No, my friend was talking about that. Though. It's really interesting. Yeah.
It's amazing, but also very gruesome, so.
Keep that in mind.
Yeah.
But then again, you watch
That's
Overlord
Red
and
Riding Hood.
yeah.
This is not real.
What is it?
Someone just typed this out. I don't think this one's real.
Let me
Let's
tell.
hear it. Let's
Let's
hear it.
hear it.
And before I read it, it's gonna be a long one. Before I read it, the reply under it is, "That's not a tile, that's a beepin' thesis." I don't think that, I just researched this and it's fake. Yeah, it's definitely fake, it's too long. Do you guys still want to hear
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
I'm curious now.
Oh boy. My life is just as wrong as I expected after traveling to another world where I'm surrounded by cute girls at a magic high school and am also the fabled hero of legend. But before I tell you that story, I have to tell you this story in which I was walking along with my unbelievable, impossible cute younger sister who doesn't like me at all. And she said to me it was my fault she wasn't popular no matter how she looked at it as we walked to school together. And we stopped to look at a garden, which had a flower whose name I don't remember.
That is
Wait, still going! When suddenly a portal opened up to another world, and when I landed in a field and my face was buried in the largest pair of... was buried in the... I'm not gonna say that
This is
word.
based on magical.
No, this is all fake!
You know what's funny? That
But no, there's definitely some things where I'm like, oh, this is a show that I'm not gonna read anymore.
but the first one reminds me of
I
the
saw a flower.
Emirates of Shadows. The Emirates of Shadows.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Because he was like a student, and then he was killed. Then he was transported to another world where he becomes this overlord known as, I forgot his name.
Heard that or maybe?
I forgot the name.
What's the longest anime, man? I remember Joe the Anime Man was doing like jokes where like I should do a panel like that where it's like is this real isekai or not? And they would write down like a person got reincarnated as a pig because he ate some poisoned liver, or a guy got isekai into a garbage man. We had to pick which one was the real isekai. And then he would lie and go like, "They're both isekais. You're wrong."
You know, there's one person actually asked this question. He would say, "Would you count Inuyasha as an isekai series?"
That's a bit of a loop because you
Yeah,
can't go back.
because they have started doing that. There are a few shows where the person is able to go back
Yeah.
into their
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
Bleach was count.
Um,
Bleach was one. Yu
My
Hakusho
friend was
was
in
another.
that.
What do you mean?
It was like 10,000. It was like 100,000 gold or something like that. She kept going back into the other world,
I
and she
know
kept
what
going
you're
like,
talking
"I
about.
can make money. I'll just get this pottery from here and then bring it into this world and get money." Yeah.
Working for it to bring the gold back.
Sasaki and Peeps. I think he can also go back.
You talking like going
He
back in
brings-
time? They
He
just
brings
go-
stuff too. So.
Fushigi Yugi was one.
Oh, she, yeah.
Or the road part, there you go.
You talking about like just going back in time?
Can't
Something
find
like
the
that.
longest anime title.
I think they're talking about like in general balance in between location A and location be.
Yeah.
Like how could
Yeah.
could go between the present and the past.
Oh.
Or some of the other one would like hop into the fantasy world, do something, come back, sell it to make money. to
Alright, we
get
got 30 more minutes, so
What's
any
your
more?
favorite devil fruit?
What's that?
What's your favorite devil fruit?
Ooh.
Damn.
I don't really want your fruit, not gonna lie.
I mean,
I
she
want
ate
your
a
fruit.
My fruit is a failed fruit.
She ate a failed dragon.
She
fruit.
became a pink dragon.
I'm not gonna lie, Robin's fruit is like probably the most prettiest. So
Oh
I do
yeah,
like that one
I,
a
what was
lot.
it? I think it was Amira.
No,
Do you know the
I
do you know the ironic fact about that one?
what's that?
The 4Kids dub actually called it by the Japanese name, and Funimation
Really?
called
Which
it by
is crazy. That's
I,
the only
I
thing they
remember
got
the
right.
One Piece motto: if you can't think of a different voice, give yourself an accent. So Robin and the 4Kids, because she lived in the desert, she had a southern accent and was played by Veronica Taylor.
I love that.
And I know what's even funny, the Sanji one was the most
Oh,
ridiculous.
David Boo!
I
David Boo
told
was
her,
in
I said,
Slayers, that's how I
liked
knew
her. I
it,
liked
but
her
like,
southern.
Oh.
the fact that he was just like, yeah, what about
What was the most ridiculous thing you thought was crazy in the 4Kids version of
The
One
guns.
Piece?
The guns.
The water guns.
The what guns?
when
You mean the water guns?
the fact that mommy's parent was in prison forever or whatever.
Well, no.
Or the fact that they cut all of Laboon. Laboon does not exist in the 4Kids.
Actually, they did say at one point that she did die in the dungeon.
Right,
So
but that's not how she
technically
died.
No.
I know.
That's not how she died.
I know that's not how she died, but they did say that she did die.
Well, yeah, you can't last in a dungeon forever. Like,
I've heard his 4Kids did a better job with One Piece censoring the water guns. In Yu-Gi-Oh, they said the finger gun. They just
Finger.
blame you.
Well,
He points you to death.
Fun fact, my YouTube name, Megami33, Megami comes from a Yu-Gi-Oh card because I was a huge old school Yu-Gi-Oh player. I think it's Guakantamo Megami.
Yes.
And I just thought it was a pretty card, but it's in Kaiba's deck for some
It is.
reason. And there's an uncut scene in the original J where like the guy with the soldier with the weird spiky hair is like is about to shoot Kaiba.
Oh yeah, and then he
throws-
shoots the card
He throws that specific card
into the
block,
gun shop.
to block the gun
Yep.
thing so it
I
won't
remember
shoot.
that.
And then he's like, and then he punches the guy. He's like, that's what you get for ruining one of my cards. And I was like, what an awesome scene!
Such an asshole. Bro.
Yeah.
the thing with the One Piece and the reason why they had to have guns still in there because there was like no way that 4Kids could edit out all
Funny
those
enough,
guns.
when I was at the School of Visual Arts, they had internships for 4Kids.
Oh.
And I was very curious to apply. And funny enough, they were losing money and they couldn't hire anybody. But what amazing stories would I have been? I would have been the person to remove the words from the books or change all the rice balls into sandwiches. Like, what an amazing thing. I'm kind of like, man, I wish I could have gotten that internship. Oh, man.
Rice balls into cookies.
Or donuts. Jelly.
God,
Well, yeah, that was a Pokemon. But
I know,
they-
there was one
Piece, they changed
episode
it
where
to
Brock
cookies.
calls them jelly donuts,
Jelly
and then
donuts.
when they see Todd again, they call them popcorn balls.
Yeah, but in the One Piece 4Kids dub, they
Brock
changed
makes the best popcorn
they
balls.
changed
It's like, okay.
they changed the rice balls to cookies in the
That's
One
like
Piece
saying
dub.
someone can make the best Rice Krispie treat. It's not that hard. You just
Chocolate
put
chip
marshmallow
cookies.
in it.
Chocolate chip cookies, anybody?
And then what was another one that was crazy? The scene from back in the old 4Kids dub version of Yu-Gi-Oh, where they would actually change their names.
Yeah. So it's funny too because I like rewatching Detective Conan. Well, I still watch it in the J but we don't dub it anymore. Funimation, I think, only dubbed 200 episodes.
Why was that?
I think it's a
Licensing.
licensing issue. Well, that and I don't think they wanted to keep up with it.
I don't think the sales were that good.
Yeah,
for it.
it's actually the 6th most popular show in Japan.
And it got a lot
It's,
of.
yeah,
It's got a lot of
people love
volumes.
Detective Conan.
There's a lot of volumes and a lot of.
Yeah, which was great because I'm a Detective Conan fan. I bought a lot of merch when I was there for my honeymoon.
Oh, we
So-
actually have one of the person that actually goes to UB. She's a big detective. I think you probably met her. She was the one with the Asian culture for UB. She actually was that. She actually is a big detective.
I love that dub, but yeah, they changed most of their names, and I never understood why. I don't know. Sometimes they change names. Well, not nowadays. There are a few companies that will still do like 4Kids style dubbing.
Yu-Gi-Oh still does.
Pretty pure. There's
Yu-Gi-Oh
Pretty Pure on
still does.
Netflix. If you watch that dub, it's very 4Kids, which is very weird for LA because I know that's done in LA. I think Beyblade too. Like Beyblade's very like you can't make that show seriously, you know.
Beyblade will always be
With Yu-Gi-Oh still does it. They still do it to a certain
Is there
extent.
still more Yu-Gi-Oh? I don't know.
Yeah.
I think they came out with Yu-Gi-Oh 7, but they also had Arc V. Arc V was pretty good, but they did change
No, there's
stuff.
actually another one. There's actually two. There's Speed. There's Yu-Gi-Oh
People
Rush.
still watch it.
Yu-Gi-Oh Rush.
Brains. Yu-Gi-Oh
Oh
Brains.
god.
No, Brains is like those
Brains is the
six.
least
It's the
stuff.
sixth one, the seventh
The
one.
more you guys
Yu-Gi-Oh!
talk about, the
7s.
more it doesn't sound like I'm.
Well, Brains, they changed stuff too. They had to change stuff.
That
out
was
too.
the least
I
stuff
stopped up to the
Brains.
motorcycle
Well,
thing.
yeah, but they still.
5Ds.
Yeah.
They like made
That's the best one.
Really?
I better than the Backstreet for a dub, but
I did like the theme song better than that. I don't know.
No, you should check the Japanese version. The Japanese
yeah?
is really good.
I watched the Japanese for GX because I don't think we finished dubbing that.
No,
I
because
never
season
watched-
4 never existed.
Season four
it
never
was,
got
it
dubbed.
was
I'm
really good. I
I'm
was like,
still
oh, why did we
waiting on
stop?
I
Like,
love Zane's voice.
GX was
yeah, I think
amazing.
it got too dark for them, and they're
No,
like, we
it's
can't work on this
stupid.
anymore.
It's really good later on.
Dude,
though.
with the
And then
budget.
Killing Yu-Gi-Oh! 5D also had like another season that never got English dubbed at all.
and the reason why they stopped doing it was because they
They was
wanted to
getting
go, they move on to 5Ds, and then they ended up screwing up 5Ds
Are you
too.
talking about the
But-
Zonarch? The
But
Zonarch?
yeah, GX.
Yeah, the Zonarch
GX
was the
The
last
Zonarch was pretty good. It was really
It's such
dark.
sad that GX never got dubbed. It
Like,
should have been.
it's so out of place.
Such a good series. That was actually my favorite Yu-Gi-Oh series.
Oh.
Over the
GX
years.
5Ds was always one.
So yeah, I guess it's still.
Same.
I'm still
What's up?
mad about that.
Ghost story.
Oh, I love it.
Oh no!
So this obviously everybody knows the ghost stories, but do you know like why they did it that way?
No. What was the real reason?
Wasn't it because of, I just heard they just wanted to screw around.
Yes. Well, so when we buy anime, or usually it's whoever like with Crunchyroll with Sony, they will usually do like a deal where it's like they'll give you like a package deal. So it's like, okay, you want this show, but you also got to take these, you know. So with Ghost Stories was a weird phenomenon because the show was doing very poorly in Japan to the point that the creator was going like, I don't know what you can do. If you can do something with the dub, I'll let you do whatever you want.
And they just.
So they did, and now it's a cult
I was
classic.
gonna say, didn't they decide to take the English dub and translate it back into Japanese?
Yeah,
So it
they
would
did,
actually be
yeah.
better?
Oh, like that one scene, the
Like they actually.
bunny
The
scene.
funny scene. Let's not quote any lines from that one, because that's a little bit dark one, but yeah.
They redubbed it.
Yeah.
What was your very first anime?
Really, they have to still match the.
First, that like made
They're
me
actually-
realize I want to be an anime fan, or first that I saw just
First
randomly.
one I just randomly saw. Me, it was Samurai Jack, something that wasn't anime, but I got
Really,
it.
that's your first one? How old are you?
I was like 4 or 5.
Okay.
And I was just like staying up really late one night, and I did the Tsunami was a thing. You saw like Tsunami like
Yeah, I would like to say Sailor Moon was probably my first, but the one that always really comes to my mind is
Pokemon.
Tama and Friends. Does anybody know what that show is?
No, I've never heard
So
of
Tama and Friends is literally just like they're just kitties and dogs and
It's
like
like Hello Kitty, but not animal.
yeah, and they're just like they all have, some of them have owners, some of them are just like strays, and it's like let's just go play. It's like Hamtaro. Do you guys know what Hamtaro is?
Yes.
Tama and Friends is basically Hamtaro, but just with cats and dogs. So.
Pokemon. That was my first one.
So yeah, Pokemon. So my mom got me a TV that only had 11 channels, and then
Well, I mean, it was a local channel.
I got to watch like Buffy the Vampire Slayer, fall asleep to something like that, and then luckily one morning I woke up to Pokemon, and then I was like telling everybody like, guys, did you see the show? It's really cool. And then like.
I was like
It was one of those things where like a week it's like you're
I was like
crazy,
8 when it
and then
came
a week
out.
later,
When it came
trading
out.
cards.
Trading cards.
Digimon was another one.
Games.
Oh,
everything.
Digimon, Monster Rancher,
Oh my god.
Shinzo. I'm very.
Shinzo was my
We're going
favorite.
Shinzo.
That was my
favorite.
Like the Time Detective.
No,
I can tell you shows that people will be like, what the heck?
Carmen
are you
San
talking
Diego. Carmen San Diego.
Oh, yeah.
About? Is that an anime?
No, but it's a cartoon. I love it.
If we're talking cartoons,
It
it's
happened
fine.
around the
Yeah.
same time as the quiz show. So the quiz
Oh,
had the
yeah,
acapella
yeah.
version of the intro, and the cartoon had like the rock symphonic version.
It was a good time to be an anime fan.
What was that? What was another one?
Not many people know Shinzo, I'm surprised.
Shinzo was my. I grew up to that show.
For people that don't know what Shinzo is, basically like, I think the world is being invaded, and then for some reason, they're like, the scientist is like, oh, daughter, go in this time capsule and you'll save the future somehow.
Yeah.
And then she befriends some monsters. But when you defeat a monster, they can also turn into a card, and then the monster can eat the card and then get more power-ups as well.
Yeah.
They were probably trying to sell trading cards, and I don't know if they
It
did,
had
but
something like a Tamagotchi type thing.
yeah. It was
It's
a little
more-
weird, but it
it's-
was enjoyable.
It's more different.
Steve Bloom is in that. He plays the water.
Yeah.
spirit thing, yeah.
The one that looks like he's a cool
That was probably the
person.
first time I saw Steve Bloom or heard Steve Bloom in the dub.
Does anybody remember that random Nickelodeon anime with little like cylinders with the monsters inside of them? Like, and you like tossed them and they clashed, and they were basically like off-brand Bakugan.
No.
Oh my
I
God.
want to think it's familiar, but
They were like cylinders, like blue cylinder things. There was red cylinders. The bad guys tossed them.
I forgot what that was.
No, I don't
Speaking
know
of
what that
Nickelodeon,
is.
does anyone remember the on Nicktoons the anime? It was like a French anime. It was Skyland.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Cole Lyoko also French.
Yes,
Yeah,
it
that was
is.
another one. That was
Cole
another
Lyoko
one.
was one of my
I guess
favorites.
that's kind of an anime.
It's like a French anime.
It's a French anime.
Oh, Tenchi.
Classic! That's a cult classic.
Yeah, in Anime Club, I think most of the time we watched Inuyasha and Full Metal Panic.
Oh no,
Nobody else
I know,
would bring
there's
anything
another
else.
one there's one that should not be talked about.
What?
Blah.
I love
Oh my god, I hated that anime so much.
Say what? I love that show.
I
Yes,
hated
yes.
it.
Can I
Oh
just
my
ask if
god.
anybody has ever watched Ranma? Yes, I know. Thank you. I love Ranma so much, and no one ever talks about it.
I'm actually kind of behind on the episodes because I was watching it on Hulu. I'm like on the part when
Yes.
And we used to watch Yokai Watch, it's pretty.
Yokai Watch.
Yeah.
Funny enough, Yokai Watch actually took, I think, like a brief spot over Pokemon, and Pokemon got very scared.
Yeah.
And then sadly, it lost its touch because we like ghosts, but in the sense of scariness, and we don't get the whole yokai traditions and stuff like that. Because the Japanese yokai, like, their customs are like very different. Like sometimes it's like, oh, here's the god of poop, and here's the god of umbrellas, and because everything in Japan, because most of their country is Buddhist, so everything has a soul. Everything
Yes.
is so.
like Geeky no Taro.
Yeah.
in a
Kinda
weird
like that,
way,
yeah.
yokai like takes the extremes of the fae. Like, hey, here's this cute mischievous creature.
Yeah.
Well, watch out, you feed it the wrong thing, and you're going to die miserably.
That reminds me of that very horror series that never came. It's supposed to become an anime, but never got to it yet. Uzumaki.
That sounds familiar.
It's that.
I got more questions, but
I just have one last follow-up to the Ranma.
Yeah.
I'm gonna add, for the yokai, a good show to watch, that really relates to that is Mushishi. Have you ever heard of Mushishi?
yes, I see Mushishi.
It's
Yeah.
super good.
I think that was the first time I heard Travis Willingham, or like got to like learn more about him as that, because I think he plays the main character.
Oh, does he really? I
Yeah,
didn't
he
know
does.
that.
Yeah.
My follow-up to the Ranma question is, who's my favorite character?
Shampoo.
Yes! I'm so happy.
Now you're gonna make me rewatch Ranma now. I do that sometimes. I watch seasonal anime just for fun, or I also do covers on some seasonal stuff.
It's just like, for the time that it came out, it has such beautiful, like,
It does.
gorgeous animation.
Yeah.
And so many, like, experimental animations that I just, like,
And she's just good at writing romance stuff.
yeah, and
like
the only
in
thing I
general.
hate is that stupid grandpa character.
Ah, panda bear! How you gonna hate the panda?
I hate, no, not the panda, the little pervert man that they
Oh,
made
yeah.
mosquito in Inuyasha. They literally took his character design and made it into a little mosquito in
Yeah.
Inuyasha.
Yeah.
What's your
Do you have any future project plans?
what's that?
Do you have any future project plans?
I do. Nothing I can talk about.
Well, I guess something there is anymore.
I mean, I can talk about some covers I'm working on if you guys are interested in listening to some music. Anybody watch Delicious in Dungeon?
Yes.
I'm doing a cover of the newest opening, Ume, which also means fate in Japanese. So I'm working on that. Peacekeeper, which is the new opening to Slime reincarnated as a slime.
Nice.
And then, what was the other one? Oh, the new Pokemon. Everybody loves when I do the Pokemon openings. There's a really cute thing on it.
The original?
No, there's a new one for Horizons.
That's the one without Ash in it this time.
Yeah, it's not bad. Liko and Rye aren't too bad, so.
Can't replace Ash.
He's gone.
And I'm about to see the original V8 like next.
So they say.
Thanks for joining, guys. Enjoy the con.
So they say. I think Ash will come back.
What are you saying?
Let's just
You
get
want to cover Vinland Saga for like the intro?
He's
I
still.
did
He's still.
one of the. Did I do
He
one
never
of the endings? Or I did say I do love Vinland Saga though. Yeah.
Favorite openings
We're
from
gonna
that
be back
series.
to 10.
I'm trying to remember. How many openings?
But he was number 12 though.
I don't remember the openings.
River.
He should
How
have.
did River go?
Yeah.
But they never
They had-
said he was. And
They
they
had
said he was.
specifically
Oh,
Yeah, it was.
episodes.
It was like.
Technically,
Yeah,
From
so many months
Anonymous.
have passed.
The problem is,
It was
like, I
9
can only
months from the
commission so
original
much because I don't want to be
Pokemon.
poor,
yeah,
but.
yeah. So like,
It was a 1-year anniversary of being Pikachu in the first movie.
yeah.
Like he should have been older than 10, but then when Black and White started, then all of a sudden they said, oh,
Yeah, he's 10.
Ash is still 10.
He's like this. He's like this
You
child.
might like it though.
Yeah, this is my jam, yeah.
Look at this child that has a rodent that can kill somebody
Okay,
from
we
an
got
electric
10
shock.
minutes left.
Runs around on super
What
bikes.
would be your favorite,
It's Pokemon.
That may or may
not
have
hero
a
series,
rock
but
slide
romance
joint.
series that you
Pokemon
could think
is-
of that counts as your favorite?
Canon is weird.
So basically, what's my favorite romance series?
Anime series.
My Love Story.
Oh, yeah, I remember
Yeah,
that one.
because there's no one. My Love Story, for anybody that doesn't know, is about this big kind of buff guy. Like, I don't think he's ugly. I actually like buff people, but like
He got those
he's
big
not the
lips.
typical anime protagonist. And you know, everybody picks on him because he's kind of clumsy and he's kind of a goofball. He saves this girl from getting roped on the train, and they have a relationship, and it's cool because you know everybody makes beautiful people in their manga and stuff, and like they're like, oh, here's this guy who's not exactly that handsome to most people, but he's handsome to this girl because she sees him for who he is and not what's on the outside. But she also thinks he's super hot, you know, and all her friends are like, he's a gorilla, like.
That is
But I really love that show. I think you can only see it. The Japanese is on Crunchyroll, but the dub is actually pretty good. Tia Ballard's in it. She plays the girlfriend. My Love Story.
Wait, I have seen that one.
Yeah, it's my top favorite romance.
This is the big guy. That's
Yes, the
like,
big
yeah.
gorilla guy falls in love with the cute petite girl, and everybody's like, "Why are they dating?" And it's like they don't care; they're in love. So
Have you
yeah,
seen this one, Nana?
I love Nana. Yeah.
When I first saw it, I was
She's
like,
never gonna finish it either. The manga's on hiatus.
Which has been on for a long time.
Yeah, that's not gonna be finished.
Nah.
Yep.
And they're all different, but typically how long does a project last?
For like anime or just like what?
Doesn't matter.
Well, if you're working on an anime series,
So like each part, I guess, right?
it depends how big your role is. I mean, sometimes like, and that's a problem with casting too, because like you could see like, oh, these people are playing secondaries, but then they might only show up for 4 episodes and then you don't see them again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And a lot of these shows now are only 12 episodes, so you might just work for like 3 months, maybe 2.
And then
That's why One Piece was great, because I basically worked every day.
But
Some are like 6.
Huh?
Some are like 6 episodes.
One Piece is like not long.
No, there's one actually. Fully Cooley was 6 episodes.
It's very rare now, though.
It's very rare. They're like,
Most will be 12. The most Shangri-La Frontier actually has 54 episodes.
I was gonna say, they went back to like we're doing a episode a week pattern.
Right.
That's only like on Netflix type of series.
That's on Netflix. Yeah, that's a whole different production.
And then
company.
there's like ones that was like 11 episodes.
Or like with
Almost
Hazbin
super-
Hotel, there was probably a contract deal
The
where like,
Vampires in the Garden is pretty short. I don't know if you've seen that. The Vampires in the Garden.
no, I haven't seen that one.
Yeah,
But
Netflix.
that might be a contract thing where it's like, hey, we can give you enough money, but only for 8
Why
episodes.
not just be a movie at that point?
Yeah.
It depends on what the creator wants and what the producer
Yeah,
wants.
Oh, like Yuri on Ice that just got
Oh, yeah.
shut
See, the
down.
thing is, I knew that was canceled like a while ago, and like the fact that they made this announcement now, and I'm like, yeah, no.
No shit.
Yeah. it's very sad. Like,
What do you
but-
think is more harder to do? Anime series or animated movie series? Like animated movies, basically.
I mean, they're both the same. I mean, it's really just regards of like, depending how much. I mean, they put more budget in films,
Yeah.
so the animation will be a bit more flowy, so it'll be easier than just going like, that's awesome, you know, like.
Yes.
I've worked on shows where like the flaps are just terrible.
Oh.
Sometimes they like, yeah.
Like the CGI stuff.
I haven't worked on a CG show. There's a great show that's not being talked about too much that came out this season called Girls Band. Girls Cry Band or something like that. It's a totally original show, and it's CG, but it's the most smoothest CG I've seen in a while.
Last time I saw CG anime, it was either a Jin or
I've
Berserk.
heard- Yeah.
Berserk.
Oh, don't talk about Berserk.
No, we don't.
I don't know if you've ever done this. What do you think is like harder in terms of mouth flapping, like doing mouth flapping like in the animes, or doing mouth flapping like in live action movies, like when you're
Live action is definitely more harder, but like it's more forgivable because there's only so much we can do with the vowels
With, like, an
and stuff
actual
like
actor.
that. Yeah.
Like the Ronnie Kitchen movie.
Yeah. And then sometimes people were just like, we can forgive it, it's close enough. But with anime, they really like to be precise, but sometimes it can be annoying if someone's doing a weird, like, jerking motion and then going back into something like that. Or like with Momo, like, when he was the dragon, he had these goofy teeth, and sometimes he would talk without moving his mouth, and sometimes he did, and it didn't even matter. So, like, that was annoying.
How did you even do that? Because I remember there was a couple of scenes where he was in Dragon Ball, he never actually moved his mouth. He was like,
Yeah, so it's halfway.
Sometimes if the J makes a noise, then we make a noise. If they don't, and it's not necessary, then we don't do it. But like if he's in the background with his mouth open and something terrible is happening, it's like, okay, just give him a gasp. You know what I mean? So my favorite is like I said, I was rewatching Detective Conan dub, and there's a great scene where Maury, he's not even tranquilized, he's just talking to everybody, but like his hands like this, and he's doing the whole monologue scene, but like nothing is moving. And I compared it with the J, and it's the same thing. But yeah, he's just like, we're on a case right now, but it's like he's not even moving his mouth. Anybody else got any questions? Otherwise, we're just about to end it.
Random,
I thought
what's your
it
favorite
was
MLB character?
Piggy Pie.
I thought it was until 10.
Huh?
I thought it was until 10.
I'm not doing 2 hours.
Oh, no, no.
Do you like Miraculous?
What's that?
Do you like Miraculous?
Yeah, Miraculous is cool.
who is your favorite character
It's been a
from
while,
Nana?
you know what I mean?
From what?
Nana.
Oh. No. No, I know this thing is for 2 hours, but I figured you guys don't want to sit here for another. I mean, this is fun, don't get me wrong, but yeah. Do you have a question?
So, what is your favorite live action series?
What's that?
What is your favorite live action series?
Ooh,
Queen's Gambit.
does it have to be based off an anime or just in general? I really like the One Piece one, honestly. I really think it's a good adaptation.
Well, probably.
There is a live action My Love Story too, but I don't
Oh,
think many people have seen that. So, what's that?
Have you done any horror anime?
Have I done any horror? I have an audition for it, but I don't think I've played dead spirits of kids.
Oh, damn!
Horror anime. Tokyo Ghoul is really, does it count as a horror?
Yeah.
Yes.
But I also would count it as action too. There's a lot of action.
Parasite's more horror.
Oh, I love Parasite.
Parasite
I would love to be
Parasite
Parasite.
is also horror as well.
Does Attack on Titan count as horror?
Yes.
I've been people that have been trampled on.
I mean,
People literally.
I would call that more of like a war.
I think the cameos, the random celebrity cameos they have in Attack thing are the terrifying part of it. Like Barack Obama as a Titan was terrifying to look at.
Oh yeah.
No, the Santa Claus one. The Santa Claus one was crazy.
Man.
All right. Yeah, I think we'll call it here. I would like to get a group picture with everybody. Yeah. Do a selfie from here, and if everybody wants to hold
Don't launch it all. Look at
Oh no, they like.
No, she tried to throw it across Matthew. Wait, why me?
Because you're down like the chair. I guess we'll do it over here. All people in the back, all people in the front.
Oh, back here.
Yeah, we'll face it here, and I'll go.
Sorry, we're done with the way.
I know you have had that happen for a while.
Take that towards the front, man.
Well,
There we go.
There we go.
Yeah. All
Maybe
right.
everybody's in.
Everybody in? Everybody yeah? You don't want to do it? Okay. All right. 1, 2, 3, cheese. Here we go. Okay, great.